You are listening to the Outlaw Podcast with me, your host, Andrea Hall. I am a certified equine gestalt coach, speaker, 3-time author, and lawyer. I help women lawyers who are miserable in their career, struggling with mental and emotional health issues, wanting to have fun in their lives, and struggling to be selfish. After fulfilling my dream of being a criminal defense attorney and opening my own law practice right out of law school, I thought I had it all. While at the height of my career, my 18-month-old puppy died, and I thought, what am I killing myself for? Sometime later, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and my world turned upside down. It was in that moment I realized something had to change. This podcast is about sharing my journey with you about what is possible in your life outside the legal profession, stopping the adulting and being able to play as a child, inspiring you to dream again. Let the journey begin. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Outlaw. I'm your host, Andrea Hall. We are in this together, and I truly mean that. We are all in this together. I know it may feel like you are alone with all of the social distancing, feeling of isolation, being kept home from work, not eating at restaurants. However, most people in the world are feeling the exact same way. You are not alone. I have been sick this past week, and we've had snow here in Colorado, and the weather's been a bit yucky. So for me, it really hasn't bothered me to stay at home and to be inside. Yet I know that there are others who don't feel the same way, and they live somewhere where the weather is nice, and it's really bothering them to be inside and to be isolated, especially as extroverts. I've seen numerous comments by people who are normally filled up in their day-to-day life by going to networking events, being in public, talking to people, going to social hour, things of that nature, where the introverts are having a much easier time because how they fill up is by being alone and reading a book and processing intellectually. And so there is a huge difference in personalities. And there are so many posts with people being selfish, people hoarding things, buying numerous items. In fact, I've seen several posts from Costco and from other grocery chains that are saying we are not accepting returns. And I think part of the reason why they're not accepting returns is because a lot of the stuff that has been purchased is not able to be returned on a normal basis, as well as what was bought up they've had to replenish, and that would take a huge hit on their income. So I am choosing not to focus on some of those posts that have been, in my opinion, selfishness and hoarding. And I know that there are other posts out there that are showing compassion and caring, and that is being expressed as well. And so that is what I am wanting to focus on. There are so many emails that I'm getting inundated with, as well as messages on instant messenger with people who have been creative and are now having Zoom meetings and virtual meetings and Facebook Lives with their friends or FaceTiming. None of this would have come up in my emails 2 weeks ago. People are now required to do things that they wouldn't have normally been required to do 2 weeks ago. Neighbors are sitting out on their driveways and they're conversing with other neighbors, having a cocktail or social hour. I've seen posts with people creating new drinks or food items and sharing those. And it's creating excitement. We now have parents who are teaching their kids how to cook and clean. We have people I've seen in Italy and other countries opening their windows and singing. Yoga teachers teaching yoga from the rooftops of buildings so that people in the outer surrounding buildings could participate. So there's so much joy and happiness that's actually happening around us. And I encourage you to focus on that instead of some of the instead of some of the negativity that is currently being posted. We are also learning lessons about what it really means to be a global family. How people can still support one another even if they are not right next door. Think about it. If this had happened 20 years ago, some of the things that we're experiencing would have never been possible. Like, I would have never been able to have unlimited cell phone minutes or data on my cell phone. I can remember those days where I used to have to wait till 9 o'clock at night to pick up the phone to call my mom or my grandma because I didn't have unlimited minutes, or I waited till the weekend to do that. FaceTime didn't exist. I wouldn't have been able to actually physically see somebody that I was having a conversation with. That wouldn't have been possible 20 years ago. The ability to work from home, that probably wouldn't have been possible 20 years ago, especially in the type of career I was in at that point in time. You know, I was a waitress and my livelihood depended on tips. So I wouldn't have been able to do that from home. Online schooling. I think grad school, like the University of Phoenix, things of that nature were maybe around. However, the potential of my nephew completing his sophomore year in high school online didn't exist. And in Colorado, that's one of the norms. Kids are able to go to school online on a normal basis. And so now the kids that are in public schools and private schools will have the ability to participate in online schooling, which I think is going to shift the mentality for a lot of parents who have kids. Is it possible for my kid to actually participate in online schooling so that the hours in his day or her day is reduced for kids who are in competitive sports or kids who are in AP classes and wanting to take advantage of college, things of that nature. Let's see what else. Just things that just look different now that 2 weeks ago you would have never thought were possible. We have the opportunity to be leaders and pioneers right now of new ideas and inventions during this time of change. What idea is popping into your head currently right now that you maybe have had and you've chosen to ignore it because you were busy? You were busy with life, you were busy with work, you were busy with kids, you were busy with whatever. However, that message is now screaming at you loud and clear. What tools do you possess to make something easier where you could be creative and inventive in this time, right? Remember, ideas are never missed. They're just passed on to someone else. Let's get creative, right? We have this opportunity where times have slowed down and we have the ability to get creative. Get in the flow and follow your dream, your passion. If you're able to dream it, you're able to achieve it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to dream it. This downtime is allowing each of us to gain the internal strength, courage, and spiritual fire to take charge of our lives in new ways. Again, it's giving us internal strength, courage, and spiritual fire and passion to take charge of our lives in new ways. ways that 2 weeks ago you would have never imagined. You now have the ability to control your calendar, have better relationships with your children, have better relationships with your spouse, and most importantly, a better relationship with yourself. And that's huge, and it's been huge for me. That better relationship with myself has offered me so many opportunities this last 90 days of self-reflection. You can now choose empathy over separation, heart-centered action over greediness. Let me say that again. Heart-centered action over greediness, and trust over fear. The fear is so rampant right now, and I encourage you to focus on the trust versus the fear. I encourage you to be inspired instead of pessimistic, and focus on the positive and don't get sucked into the negative. You have a choice, and I encourage you to choose wisely. How do you plan on showing up? Because you get to choose. And I would encourage you that this is a huge opportunity for a shift in mentality and a shift that is for the greater good. And a shift that potentially will change the trajectory of your life. Gosh, I'm having a hard time talking today. Change the trajectory of your life and where you will go for the remainder of your life. And when the pressure's on, how do you want to show up? And what will you choose? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Outlaw. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Outlaw. There is life after litigation. If anything I said in this episode resonates with you, call for a free exploratory session to see how I can help you. My horses will give you instantaneous feedback, unlike traditional talk therapy. You will shift your awareness into real time with the help of a horse. The horses are like lie detectors, flushing out limiting beliefs with a swish of their tail, a shift of their 1,200-pound body, or a simple unwillingness to move. Horses have a way of seeing into the window of our souls. Horses have been connected to humanity since the dawn of time. Their hearts can heal and mend our broken hearts. Simply standing in their presence can change our lives forever, putting the puzzle pieces back together and returning us to wholeness. Horses are restoring the parts of us that have been missing. You can call us at 970-682-4405 to set up your appointment today. Want to be inspired daily? See about our latest events or purchase a copy of my books? Go to our website at www.witherswhisper.com. That's www.witherswhisper.com. Or you can follow us on any social media venue at Withers Whisper. Until the next episode, listen to the whispers.